Good evening, everybody. Tonight, welcome to, I believe this is the first Public Affairs Committee meeting since March of 2020. I believe, as I was trying to go back through records, I actually watched the last Public Affairs Committee meeting since this is my first meeting chairing the Public Affairs Committee. So we will bring the meeting for January 12th, 2021 to order at 6:33 p.m. All right. I guess being the first meeting of the night, I believe we should have a moment of silent meditation and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call?
Here.
Here. Present. All right, very good. So the agenda, Councilor Prell, if you have a chance just to go down to see the items in H, look through there. If anyone has anything to add or take away, otherwise, would there be a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda, Mr. Chair.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Very good. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, any nays? Hearing none, we approve tonight's agenda. The minutes, I will take, as I got into this, like I said, I watched the last Public Affairs meeting, but as far as the minutes, I will get with Full Moon, figure out how to make that, what we need for going back to March. Table them for now, and then hopefully, right as we hit the 1-year buzzer, we'll acknowledge those minutes in the March Public Affairs Committee meeting. So would there be a motion to table the minutes?
I'll make a motion to table the minutes, Mr. Chair. Also, I wanted to say for the record, remember we had a little, which you're correct, the last official Public Affairs meeting was back then, a long time ago. But remember we had a little thing when we update in the administration of finance.
I'll find that. Okay.
That was when we put the code. We put like 3 things in one.
Okay.
When we were doing Zoom, so it's definitely recorded. So.
Okay, so then maybe the motion should be to table.
I think that might have been in September.
Both the March and the most recent update.
Yeah, I think that was
see
September.
if we can get minutes on both of those.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Make a motion to table the public affairs meetings until a further date.
The minutes.
Yeah. Public affairs minutes for the meetings, for the recent meetings, the last 2 recent meetings until a further date.
Very good.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, minutes are tabled. We do not have any, well, at least not special presentations outside of the agenda items. So we'll move through to good and welfare. Would there be anybody here tonight who wanted to speak to tonight's agenda? I like Mayor Nickerson's format. This first good and welfare would be for anything on the agenda, and then I'll make sure and have another good and welfare at the end of the committee meeting for open business. I know you know, but name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Maribel Fruitstone, 157 Northwest 88th Street, El Portal. I wanted to be here on behalf of the GFWC El Portal Women's Club and attend the public affairs meeting to be an acting 501c3 that is wanting and desiring to collaborate with the public affairs committee as well as the Village of El Portal. And so that's what I wanted to, okay, it's the cord, it's not the microphone. All right, so I wanted to attend or have other, various board members attend so that we can begin a dialogue and a collaboration with the Public Affairs Committee. So thank you for having it, and I will be discussing things with you all soon.
Very good, very glad to hear it. Thank you, Maribel. All right. Anybody else for comments for the public affairs agenda? Again, there will be a good and welfare at the end for open business. All right. Seeing none, I believe that has us on to the first agenda item, H1, which is the introduction of our new website. So this has been a long time coming. I know that there is a great deal of credit to be given to our manager and to Mayor Cubillos as well. I know you guys worked hand in hand in this for quite a long time, and the product that we have really is great. So incredible thanks to Mayor Cubillos and Manager Lou for all the work that went into that. So tonight we have Sarah, who's actually deserves most of the credit. So as the creator of this wonderful new product that we have, and she's going to give just a brief kind of introduction and guide to the website, and hopefully with this being at the beginning of the Public Affairs Committee meeting, if I'll stop talking, we can use this to point residents to as well, to give them a quick introduction to the new website. So without filling up any more space, take it away, Sarah.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Gerber, and this is the new website you can see, and it is elportalvillage.com, which is the same address as before. So if you've been on the old one, this same address, you should get it. How it's set up right now is that the top, the banner will have your public notices for meetings and any events that are about to happen. Then you scroll down, and if you're on your desktop or laptop, you'll see tabs where you can have news, events when we're able to hold more events, frequently desired forms and services like bulk waste schedule, meetings coming up, and then the last tab is the COVID-19 updates and different graphics. As you go through the site, you'll see things like this where it says like Miami-Dade COVID-19 news, and there's a little plus sign. You click on that and it expands it, so then there are further information or links. As you scroll to the bottom, you get your general information, hours, social media. You sign up here if you want to get the newsletter, get emails. And then if you go to the top, whenever you click the logo, you get back here at home. And we've organized it in a different way than it was before. The first is our village, and so you'll see you have history and nature, previous councils, event photos, and sort of general information that would be pertinent to someone that lives in the village. You can, click around. There's some is similar to the old site and some is new. When you look in the pages, you have the information, videos, and then you have more navigation on the left. Then we have the government, and here you have the different pages for the council and officials, the departments, and you can, and including the Sustainability and Resiliency Task Force. And so if you, for example, you look at the code enforcement, it has links and PDFs, all the information about the department, water restrictions. So there's a lot of information here that you just kind of expand out and you can go through. The next is business, which is, if you're running a business in El Portal, this is kind of the main links you would need. And then if you're like, I don't know, I can't find it. Well, we got I want to, and so here's some commonly looked for things. Or you have a search, and you can just type in what you're looking for, and then hit return or enter, and you'll get searches. You'll get the results of where it is. For example, and then we have here our meeting agendas and minutes. So you can see that this is our meeting right here. And if you click on this, you'll get the agenda. And the next one after this. And so you can see it has the date and the time, agenda, and, minutes. Right now we have 2021 and 2020 here. If you want older agendas and minutes, you navigate over here, and we have back through 2009. You can find it here, the videos, or here, video of meetings. And then you get, this is the YouTube channel of El Portal, and it automatically puts all the videos here. So once this meeting is done and it's uploaded to YouTube, you'll see it there. And another thing that's good is if you go back to our village, events, hopefully soon. So we have the past events, and you can click on them, and then you'll get more information. And event photos, you can see some of the past events. That we have. So it's got all of the old information, but made new and more exciting, hopefully, on the website. And then it has some new stuff too.
No, it's wonderful, honestly, and I feel like what we have here is now, like we really are, it will carry us into the future, because now it's up to us to use it to its potential, because I feel like there's room for us to grow within the way it's laid out here, and so as this being my first public affairs committee that I'm chairing, I already see that I can use the past events, for example. What was the date that we did this on? It's really outrageously helpful, all of the information that's on here. And then I like the I want to feature. It seems very kind of intuitive, and I think that that overall this is really a far more intuitive website than we had before, and so hopefully that will allow us to get just that much more engagement with residents, because that's really the goal. I already wrote down an idea to have like a website or an email blast sign up drive like 2 times a year, just to put people on that. Like the meeting that we were on, the webinar we were all on before this, Hugh talking about the text chain for residents by the canal, right, for flooding. I think that, and then I know there's some public safety issues and things like this. I think that we have with this new website, we have a chance to really get a higher percentage of residents signed up for the email, because I think that they will be able to find what they're looking for easier at the website, and that they'll feel better about signing up for the email. That's going to be valuable information for them too. So this is just really a really great look and feel, and we're just very excited of what we're going to be able to do with it. So hopefully we can live up to its potential, honestly. Madam Manager, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you.
Yes.
I know, I started walking, but I wanted to just thank Sarah and former Mayor Claudia Cubillos for, just leading this charge. It has been, I think, almost 2 years of us just getting everything where it needed to be, so Sarah could really make this happen. And, you know, it looks fantastic. I also wanted to point out, Sarah, the scroll at the top. If you could press on that and kind of just show that too, that maybe some people may miss that, but it's really important to scroll. If you don't find what you're, you know, the quick stuff you're looking for, it could be on the banner at the top. Too.
Right.
It's a good
I
feature.
think it automatically plays usually, but it's
Oh, okay.
been sitting here for a while. I think it stopped.
Very
But yeah.
Well, good job, and thank you so much, Sarah. And
And-
it's been a pleasure working with you on this
Oh,
project.
thanks. And this one is, of course, works on phones and tablets and everything, so.
That's awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We're very excited.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. It's really nice. Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate it. I just want to say, you know, just for the record, that Ms. Gerber is wonderful in every aspect. Like, as soon as you get, if you, you know, and you say, Ms. Gerber, can you please post, like, she has it done almost right away. Like, she's right on top of it. I know that, for example, for the Women's Club, Ms. Fruitstone, who's the president of the Women's Club, who's here tonight, I know that when they were doing the caroling, you know, she reached out and said, hey, could you, you know, get this on? And I sent it to Sarah, and Ms. Gerber got it on, like, right away, got it posted on there. So she's always on top of it, and she's a wonderful addition to the village. So I just want to say I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And Sarah, if you just hang on, we're going to give you a certificate that was presented to you by former Mayor Cubillos, but you were present for that event.
All right. Yeah, so with public affairs getting back into swing, having the new website couldn't be at a better time, honestly. And so, as we look at what's ahead for public affairs, I had it open. It's here somewhere. There it is down there. Okay. I do want to talk about the Women's Club involvement with public affairs and El Portal, and we'll probably address that in both the schedule of events and the budget recap. For right now, since we had not met before December 20th, which was the night of the caravanning parade through El Portal, what had been worked out between myself and Maribel was that the Women's Club and the Village of El Portal, essentially the Public Affairs Committee, would split the cost of $200, which is what it cost us to pay the off-duty pay for Officer Harrison. And so that is essentially a done deal. Madam Manager, I may have a question for you on this because of the way our fiscal year runs from October 1 to September 30. We do have a budget for that caravanning event, essentially, which was our Christmas event. However, before I get ahead of myself, do we have ballpark or even exact numbers on the other costs that we had? For example, the tree lights, things like that.
Well, there are costs associated with the Christmas activities. The tree, oh gosh, I believe it was under $200.
Okay.
I think the concern, and this is what I spoke with you about, is not so much about that there was allocated funds for Christmas, it's that it's for a salary, and that's not budgeted. I mean, that would have to come through. That's not a part of what was allotted for the budget, what was intended
Sure.
for expenses related to caroling or Christmas activities, or even if it was an Easter event. It's not to pay off-duty police.
Right.
And so we haven't, I haven't actually spoken to the CFO about that. I know that there may be some restrictions about utilizing budget for that is not already budgeted.
Okay.
And that is why I had the offline conversation with you, just so
Yeah.
we could pay Officer Harrison, but without getting into an issue where I need you all to agree to a change if
Okay.
you want to use budgeted event money for salary.
Gotcha. Okay. Because the other issue wrapped up in that is that Sergeant Sharp did participate quite meaningfully that night as well. And so I wanted to discuss with the committee, with input from the manager, kind of understand where we were in terms of, you know, that $500 budget that was there for, you know, Christmas, if there would be anything at all that we could do for Sergeant Sharp as well.
Possibly. Our CFO is in the audience. I want to ask him if we could, you know, I know we have events budgeted for activities for Christmas and holiday and all of that. Would a salary or an off-duty fee be allowed for something like that?
Or even in Sergeant Sharp's case, it might even be termed as simply as like some manner of bonus because he was not off duty that night.
Oh, he was on duty.
He was on duty, but he was able to, you know, he was able to participate.
I have some hesitations about that, but I'm sure our CFO may want to.
Sure. Okay.
I know
Yeah,
we
but
want to do, and I think
that needs
that's
to be
nice, but.
that needs to be made clear. He was not, Sergeant Sharp was not off duty. He
Right.
was in fact on duty.
Yeah.
And I just want to acknowledge his.
And then-
Right. Yeah. And so I just want to find out what we might be able to do for him.
Yeah, I think this, I think the CFO is gonna say, I think what I'm thinking, and I'm thinking something else also, because I remember when we were going through the gifts for Christmas, there was a certain way we had to do it, because when you're talking about tying things into salaries and tying things into payment, it gets really tricky, but Mr. CFO, you'll be able to.
All right, so there are a couple of things. Anytime you give employees cash or something that looks like cash, like a gift card, you're gonna have to tax them on it. So they have to pay, you know, as if it were salary or wages to them. That becomes kind of a pain when you just give someone like $25 a gift card because it's a nice sentiment. Then on the backside, you have to make that reflective in their paycheck, and it's really not worth the effort, in my opinion. However, I do understand people like to make gestures and thank employees. You can give de minimis gifts, like, you know, the typical Christmas turkey or whatever. Something that's not have a big intrinsic value. It's just a de minimis amount. A plaque, of course, is never going to be taxable. Some sort of recognition like that. Regarding the budget item, if it was an officer who was already on duty, there's no incremental cost to the city for that, I don't think. However, if you had one that was paid for off-duty, that's basically, it wouldn't be off-duty, it would be overtime because they are in fact working for the city. So you would wind up paying them time and a half for city events, or you should be. Those kind of costs seem like they should be attributed to the event itself. The rub on that is that cost shows up in the police department, not in the public affairs. So, you know, the budget wasn't adopted with that cost in there, so you'd have to try to figure out how you would want to move money around to cover a cost if you were to do something like that. And once again, I mean, those budgets in the line item in the public affairs budgets are very small this year.
Right.
Because of the situation, and, you know, we're all aware of that.
Okay. Go ahead.
So as far as the as far as the caroling event, how much more or less was the caroling event? Would we say? Do we?
Well, for the event itself, the only cost was the $200 for the off-duty pay for Officer Harrison. So, so after listening to, you know, the input from the CFO, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, let's think of a gesture that we can do for Sergeant Sharp, because the other thing I had in mind, which I hadn't said yet, but, you know, with Station 30's participation, there was an ambulance and a ladder truck. So I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I'm thinking 2 EMTs in the ambulance and 4 fighters in the ladder truck. That's 6 personnel from Station 30. But overall, I know that it was, you know, I'm sure they would consider it a team effort from themselves. And so is there some similar gesture that we could also present to Station 30 to say, you know, thank you for participating in the event and strengthening that relationship, you know, with El Portal and Station 30? Because, I mean, it really, the concept of the event was great, and then having Station 30's participation really just like took it to a whole nother level. to a point that I think that we might have even had a couple vehicles join the parade. It seemed to get longer as we went. I'm serious. And so that is also what I mean by almost right about the time I was thinking, man, we almost need another vehicle. Like Sergeant Sharp showed up, and not just, I mean, he just was very intuitive in understanding how he could help, and then Station 30 were actually on duty, so there was an understanding that if they got a call, they would be breaking away from the parade, and going to take care of business. But because of the proximity, it's not like they were out of range if there was an issue, So there was no risk that way, and so just for that event specifically, it just seems like a great opportunity to acknowledge our own law enforcement, but specifically. Sergeant Sharp, it really just did add quite a bit. And then also if there would be some kind of gesture we could do for Station 30. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm all for that. I'm all for that 100%. I'm just trying to find a way, because what we haven't figured out is the off-duty police officer costs $200. We were trying to find a way to split the cost with the women's club, and from what the CFO just told us, there's not a way for us to split the cost with the women's club. That's the part I'm trying to figure out.
And so that we sorted that out, and then as we get to the budget recap, I'll discuss that. But that got sorted.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have my microphone on. You were trying to tell me, I think. Yeah. All right. So that was sorted, so that we don't have any issues with budget line item where it came from. Okay. So if we're sitting at, let's say, $200 for the Tree Plus, in theory we still have $300 from that event allocated. Now we certainly, absolutely can use that $300 somewhere else within public affairs. I mean, every single line item is hurting. But if it is possible to do any type, maybe we do a little, a small, like a plaque for Station 30 to say thank you and commemorate that. I mean, I think that the parade itself went so well that even once we get beyond COVID, it seems like the type of model that we would want to do annually. But we'll hash out those details in terms of that planning. Since this is the year gone by, that'll essentially happen in the next fiscal year, right? So we can spend some time here planning that out. But it really did seem to go incredibly well this year.
May I suggest
Absolutely.
something too, in terms of Sergeant Sharp's assistance, even though he was on duty? I have seen that there are times when officers are doing their job in the line of duty. They
Sure.
are offered commendations. So that might be something
Okay.
very nice for you to contribute to his
Okay.
employment record, his file, and it would be a marker of something very good.
Okay.
I know officers and even other staff frequently, those are good things to have in your employment file.
Okay. So then maybe what we'll do with this item is between now and March's committee meeting, I'll get with chief, I'll get with manager, and really kind of find out maybe what 1, 2, 3 options, something like that we can present to committee in March, and we can finalize what we might do for both Station 30 and Sergeant Sharp in that regard for March. And then I do think it will become kind of an annual big deal of having Station 30's participation and getting the community. It just seemed like a great opportunity also to help do outreach from both our guys in our vehicles, and then the emergency response as well. It just seemed like a really great kind of ambassador evening for the residents that way. So, Mayor.
I just wanted to say, in closing, I think you're probably going to get to this. I see that the next thing is schedule of events. I just wanted to say, the Women's Club, it's the Arbor Women's Club. And so we need to embrace the Women's Club. Like, it's not the Miami-Dade County Women's Club. It's not the City of Miami Women's Club. Like, it's the Arbor Women's Club. So I just think that going forward, wherever we can, we need to help subsidize what they do because it's for our community. So we need to help them financially wherever we can, if possible, if we're able to do it. We need to really do that, and I really want to start to work more hand in hand with them as the Albor Tower Women's Club, and to really support them in the way that they should be supported.
I don't disagree with you on that. I do have a disclaimer. I'll move it up to my disclaimer. I'll move it up to when we, on H3 here as we begin. But to close out H2, the off-duty pay. So just again to recap, the off-duty pay for the event has been settled and accounted for. And so I'll leave this as to bring back to committee in March so we can finalize what commendation or what I forget the other adjective we used, but what gesture, right? What of gratitude we could do for both Sergeant Sharp and Station 30. So, does anybody from the let me close out the meeting to the committee and open it up to public comment on this just real quick. Does anyone from the public have any comment on this specific issue? I know, Maribel, you were involved in all of this. I mean, so.
Hi, Maribel Fruitstone, 157 Northwest 88th Street, president of the GFWC Albor Tower Women's Club. We just need to know if we owe $100. I mean, we closed out. We would love to welcome not having to pay that. But again, I mean, it was a successful event. And so I think in our fiscal budget, we paid, it wasn't $200, but we do have something over $100 that we had actually budgeted, and that's usually from years past for the cost of the off-duty police officer, because this is the 7th year that we did it. So, you know, we'll wait until March and see, or between that and find out, email us, because we do want to be responsible. It was absolutely successful because we had the police escort that makes us safely cross the 2 avenues that we have to cross with such a large amount of people. And so it is quite necessary to do that. And we don't want to not be responsible and pay. But if we don't have to pay, we'd like it too, because we are a not-for-profit. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay.
I do think that the feedback on Nextdoor was really, really positive. And it, you know, after such a sad year from March until December, we got a lot of residents excited, and I want to keep the momentum going. So I would love to continue collaborating. And yes, I think this could be the reimagined way that we go about doing things. So if you want to close it up, and I don't know if anybody else wants to.
Very good. Does anyone else have comments on this topic? All right, very good. Yeah, I think as we plan for the next Christmas event, we can even work in like registration of vehicles to help cover that cost, or you know, some of that help you get people. Then you'll know really how many people are showing up, you know, things like that. So, okay, very good. I will close the public comment and open it back up to the committee. Any other comments on this item? All right, very good.
Just, you know, thank Maribel for that, you know, for that event, for, you know, collaborating, bring some kind of like positive light to the residents in the village. It was great. It was like, it was the first time that we, you know, actually enjoyed the Carolines, you know, and because we never did. We've been living here for a few years, and I knew it was always, you know, around the village area, but this time going around every street, it brought tears to my wife, to admit. She was super happy. It was great. Thank you for that, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, and no pressure from Maribel at all, but hopefully we'll have a path towards keeping it going here at the end of the night. All right, so schedule of events. So let me see if I can figure out which one of these I want to open. I had it, and let's find it. Okay. Schedule of events. I have that in a different Excel. I haven't opened yet. Okay. so the schedule of events, if you look at the tracking report, is essentially the same thing, I believe. Yes. So, okay. So from all of the notes that I took and everything I could find and compile from the budget, this tracking report essentially operates as a schedule of events. You guys have in front of you a PDF. I have in front of me the Excel spreadsheet. So I can move things around, change the order, add dates, you know, we can change budgets and things like that. You'll notice in the tracking report, at the very last end, it says chair, right? So we're gonna try and figure out who might chair.
I'm sorry, but I don't have the.
You don't have a tracking report? Okay, it's gonna be in an let me see which email that came in.
I can see.
Okay, the email is from 3:38 on the 11th, if that helps.
Last week, from January 9th to Sunday and Monday, Tuesday.
Let's see. And you're actually in the, you're listed twice in the field. January 11th, 3:38.
The one you have to send it to is the one that says council person. Yeah. The other one council.
Okay, we can even do, if you got a pencil and paper even, because we're just gonna go down the list and talk about all these things. So, as I made this list, keep working on it and then just let me know in a minute if you're able to find it or not.
No, it's not here.
Okay.
I went through the
Okay.
weekend looking for stuff, you know, to make sure that I got all the.
I got you.
No, but can you find it now? I can send it to you.
Okay, well, that's happening. There's even a few things that we, like there is like a no budget for, but I included anyway. Because I know that once we get kind of back, you know, post-COVID, right, we're gonna try and fill out the public affairs, you know, to be full again, right? So as far as the calendar of events and as far as the tracking report goes, you know, that's kind of what we're gonna iron out tonight is what are we gonna do, what have we done? Some of these things, again, because of our fiscal year running from October 1 to September 30, some of these things have already passed, right? So we gotta figure out, you know, from October till now, is there any budget that wasn't used for an event that did not happen that we can move somewhere else? So keep that in mind. Right now, I just want to, actually, Mayor Nickerson, I might need your help on this quite a bit to kind of relay what your impressions of some of these events from the past have been, so that we would know what our standards and expectations would be. So, I guess we'll just start with one on the top. I have as National Day of Service, that occurs in January. It's January now. I believe it's just next week. Is that correct? Yes. So, you know, for this, it might be where we just want to be sure we put something up on the website, remind residents that it is National Day of Service. Go ahead, please. Yep.
I know that the Women's Club, Maribel, that you guys have something planned for National Day of Service. I don't know if you want to come up and say it real quick, and then from what she says in her description, we'll see if there's anything we got to do with it.
We have, as one of our community service projects, so they're being affiliated with the state and the national level, we volunteer and we have different categories that we have to do community service projects within. So throughout ours, the largest one that we've always been known for in the state is conservation. So we're always trying to do things within the resiliency and conservation of El Portal. So the National Day of Service, this Monday, I have emailed and received from our manager the approval that we would like to build a community plant swap stand. So there is one similar in Biscayne Park, and one of our members decided to recommend that, and the membership was like, yes, let's do this. So thanks to her approval, the Little River Estates Park, we're gonna build on Monday, the National Day of Service, at 9 a.m. we're gonna start. I'm creating a flyer to get it out, so everything's been happening like yesterday, today. And we're currently collecting supplies, but we would like to at least put one stand where the residents can come and place a plant. And if they want a plant, somebody doesn't want one, they can put it there, and then another resident can take it. It's very similar to our little library, so it's a swap. We also would like to collaborate eventually with the Bound by Beauty not-for-profit, so that we can really educate the residents about native plants, move further with fertilizers and lack of fertilizers, which is through the Resiliency Task Force. But the first thing would be to actually get the visual of the stand, and so that's what we want to do, and we will be doing on Monday at the Little River Estates Park, 9 a.m. So it's up to you.
All right, and then what you're doing on Monday at the park, we will stay there from.
Yes,
okay.
it's gonna be. We are gonna be maintaining it. So once it's erected, it's going to be there. We will have it on our website. We will post it on Nextdoor. And so it's supposed to be something that is existing to bring a community feeling to each of the areas. So if one is successful, then we may try on the northeast side. But I know it's the traffic, so it needs to be kind of visual. And Sherwood Forest was suggested, but it has already, like Sherwood Forest is already. I don't want extra traffic there. If somebody's going to come and drive up, it's easier and it'll be more visual at the end of the street on Northwest 2nd Avenue than actually in Sherwood Forest.
Yeah, I think the River Estates Park is a nice surprise find for people who don't know this.
Correct, and
yeah.
so then they see this colorful
And then
stand.
the nature
with these
trail is
plants.
just right there.
Right, and the
Yeah.
only other traffic that we get throughout the year is Arbor Day. So, to bring the residents over
Yes.
to the west side.
Okay, and then, Madam Manager, would there be any conflict? Would it be okay for us to help the Women's Club promote that event and put their flyer on our website?
No problem with that, but I do have a question.
Yes.
Maintenance of your stand,
Yes,
the village, what is the plan for that?
the plan is that,
You talk about who's
You're
gonna
right.
maintain it and,
okay, we currently have 15 members, and of those 15 members, we have about 4 that currently live on the west side. So as we all exercise and walk our dogs and things, that's where we will be maintaining and paying attention to the stand, and that it is actually, visually appealing. The other idea is because there is lack of water there, we actually do have to take care of the plants. If not, somebody's gonna come get a dead plant, which we don't want that to happen. So I have also commandeered my husband, who works from home, and he will also, throughout his day walking through, he can check and see if stuff is happening too. So we do have several residents that live in the area that will be maintaining it. Okay, she's got another question.
I didn't know it was gonna be a permanent structure. I thought this was a temporary structure, but we are also going through, in the next few months, we'll be doing a park redesign for all of our parks. So I'm going to have to think about how we incorporate that into the design of the River Estates Park. But that will be months down the line, and I'll work with you on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we're creating and designing it, we will think that it may have to be moved. So we don't want to create something permanent. The other idea is, in case of hurricane, we need to be able to do something with it too. So yes, we had, I was already kind of thinking of that myself, that it needs to move. So.
All right. Okay, so I'll get with the manager on seeing about helping them get the flyer up on the website. Okay, so as we're sitting here talking, were you able to find it?
Yes.
Okay. So the note I have for National Day of Service is, and Maribel, you might need to speak just one more time, but so the theme for this year is conservation, or is the theme every year for the Women's Club conservation?
We mostly focus on conservation because
Okay.
we also support the Little River Conservancy with the beer and
Okay.
barbecue. And we've
So
done a number of things.
I asked that because if we're going to align efforts to maximize the Elport, the villages outreach, and then maximize the Women's Club outreach and make it a truly mutually beneficial
Mhm.
relationship, right? So I was thinking, well, we would, kind of workshop our theme for the next year in July. But if you're saying that every year, pretty consistently, some manner of conservation is the theme,
Yes,
so then,
because
then
we
I might.
planted a tree another year.
Okay, then I might put it to the committee, would we be okay declaring that the Elport town, the village's participation in National Day of Service each year would align with that, and we could say that it's a standing theme of conservation? Thoughts?
I have no problem with that, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, all right, so I, and then, if something occurs where the Women's Club is all of a sudden like, oh no, we're changing course on this, then I'm sure that, we'll have at least, some time to prepare for realigning, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, January, okay. And then can anybody in the room answer the question that would be, is the National Day of Service always the third Monday in January? Yes, okay, very good.
It
I'm just
falls
gonna-
in line with Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay,
holiday.
very good. Makes sense. Okay. All right, League of Cities Dinner is next.
Just want to say, Mr. Chair, first of all, for the record, Attorney Geller is here, and good to see you. I hope your wife is doing well, Attorney Geller. Hope she's okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I know you had a hard day with that. Yeah, and I know you have to get back to Tallahassee for session, so you have a hard day.
Fly to Jacksonville,
Yeah,
rent a car, drive over.
yeah.
Flights are just,
Yeah,
so I'll be driving half the night.
but it's good to see, with what your wife is going through, that you're down here, helping her through that. It's good to see. Mr. Chair, if I remember correctly, wasn't the League of Cities dinner? Didn't we take that out and put it in contingency? I thought we took all those stuff out. The Miami Shores Gala, the League of Cities dinner, and we said
I have the most recent.
We're not sure if we're-
and we still have.
I thought we said we're not sure if they're going to happen this year, so we took
Correct.
everything out in the
left
budget.
We left, I think, the minimum buy-in, which was 1,500, as a place marker. But
Okay.
But I
I thought we emptied them out.
on the
in
most recent budget that was just sent, which matches up with the PDF that I included
Okay.
for the budget for this meeting. I don't see any differences yet between the two. I haven't
Okay.
taken a microscope to it, but it's only about 12 line items. And so I believe we did leave that as
Okay.
1,500 as a place marker.
It's a place marker. Okay, and the gala the same. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
So
you're probably-
League of Cities, what month is the League of Cities?
The League of Cities Gala takes place in the spring, so it's usually around May. I
Okay.
think it's May. I was going to say April or May. It's usually around May.
Okay.
So we're still at the point
So
that
we
we
can
were.
decide on that in March?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to move through this here, I think if we can just figure out, okay, what do we need to pay attention to and plan for? What has passed, and we can now, cannibalize that budget, or what we need to leave in place, right?
Yeah,
And then we can move through that fairly quickly here.
Absolutely.
And call it a night, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, Halloween, Madam Manager, did we spend anything on Halloween this year? No, okay. So, we had left $100 in there, so that $100 now, can go into, I'm just gonna put reallocate for my own little notes, and then I'll get with the CFO, and then we can talk about that. Once we get to the end of these, events, Then I'll do a recap of money that we decided can be reallocated, and we'll have it out at that point of where we think some of that money should go.
Perfect.
Or we can leave it hanging in the air until March. Newsletter budget I have is $1,080.
That should stay how it is.
Let's just stay how
Mr.
it
Chair,
is,
yeah.
okay. All right, and then do you have a schedule in mind? Do we just wanna work this out here in terms of when that newsletter is gonna go out?
Yeah, well, we usually do it, this is about right. I mean, we usually do it about 4 times per year.
Okay.
So, I mean,
When is,
this first one, I'm
this
trying to
first
put,
one
I'm
with
trying to put
the-
out in the beginning of February.
beginning of
Yeah.
February? Okay, so if we did February, that's 2 plus 6, I'm sorry, plus 3 is 5. So February, May, 5 plus 3 is 8, August, and then November. You wanna say February, May, August, November?
We can do that.
So November can be end of calendar year, holiday season, get everybody over to the new
New
year.
Year,
Everybody gets over their hangover in January. February, they're ready to read the newsletter.
yeah.
May can be the get ready for hurricane
Yeah,
season issue.
Yeah,
August can be, hey, how's it going during hurricane season issue?
absolutely,
And November again, holiday season, everybody have a good new year.
absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here in the notes as February, May, August, November.
Perfect.
Okay, and that budget, you think will carry us for our needs?
I believe so. If not, then I'll revisit it.
Okay,
You know, but I kind of put it in there as I believe so. I believe
Okay.
so.
very good. I'm not sure what everybody's able to view, out here in the audience. I'm hoping to kind of get through this list and then ask for comment. If anyone feels a need that they need to speak on something as we're going through it in the moment, by all means, get my attention and I'll close the committee meeting and open it up to the public. But the idea is that we can get through to the end of this list and then hash it out at that point. All right, National Night Out. So I believe you see the same thing that I have in my Excel, which is some exclamation points, and that's just to say, hey, this is an event that we used to do. It had a budget. So the National Night Out. Do you remember I know there were several different nights, and is this something we need to get with the chief about and organize? October? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it is something we should coordinate with the chief though, because it's completely and 100% with that, and that's something that in the past also we've also.
It's like law enforcement outreach to community engagement, things like
It
that.
was law enforcement outreach, but what we used to do is we used to do kind of the same thing that you guys did with the caroling, which was the fire department would join. We would drive around El Portal.
Okay.
And things like that. We used to do that for that.
All right,
also,
so the
which is
note-
what gave me the idea to use for the. That's why.
The
I
note
brought
I'm
that
gonna
up.
put on this is gonna be 2022 budget, because for fiscal year, that's what that, right? So the idea is that as we can discuss what that budget should be and how it's gonna look as we get further into this year with committee meetings, since we're out to October. So if we're confident that we're gonna do it in October, just as we've done in years past. The only reason I say is because I remember in one of the last discussions about National Night Out, there was a discussion that, there's this date for this organization, there's that date, and they were even like in different months and different seasons of the year, I think. So if we're confident that that's gonna be October, then I think that we can discuss what that budget should be and plan for that. That'll happen right away as soon as the new year turns over, right, in the new budget, but I think we can plan for that probably in March, May and July.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
Madam Manager, if I'm not mistaken, I thought we did something also sometimes in August. And for National Night Out, didn't we do for August also?
Yeah, so like a back to school, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so then that means,
And yeah, it was 2 different things. Like they were both kind of the same, but I remember there was one. There's definitely one in August, and there's one in October.
okay, so then I'll actually put this on the March agenda so that we can, so March, May, and then by July, it's planned, accounted for, and done. How's that sound? Okay, so I'm gonna make a note then, because that'll fall within this year then. And it doesn't have a budget. There is no budget allocated to that. So I'm gonna put in the notes here then, we're just gonna spend some time on that and solve it. March, what is it? May, July. Those 3 committee meetings, we should be able to figure it all out. So that way, by the time August hits, we're ready for it. Okay, Miami Shores Gala, it still has a price tag of $1,500 attached to it. What are we saying?
I mean, with COVID, I mean, it's kind of like in the same boat with the League of Cities, you know, and I mean, I remember we were debating this and discussing this. I felt that the League of Cities was something that that was more beneficial to attend than the Miami Shores Gala.
What month is this one in?
That one it's in the springtime also. May.
It's in May,
Yeah.
okay.
Also, I want to raise your, your recollection. We paid for the event, and we did not take the reimbursement. It would be applied to this year, so we would, if they're gonna.
So we don't need a budget.
They're gonna apply it to this year?
Yes, it was, well, that's what I was told.
Well, that sounds like then the scholarship fund that they're raising for is gonna suffer this year then.
Well, I think that's what they allow, that everybody get to.
Okay.
Next year, and then but I will double check on that.
Okay, so then we'll look for an update on that in March,
Yeah.
and we'll make a decision on that in March about what to do about that. For now, that budget of $1,500 will remain then. Does that sound reasonable? All right. Let's see. So then in March, we will discuss League of Cities and Miami Shores Gala. All right. Little River Cleanup, occurring in March. I have a budget here of $500.
Yeah, I recently sent out an email. Were you guys on that email? No. I sent out an email to the Little River Conservancy asking them if they needed any help and assistance with this year's Little River cleanup, to let us know
That we have 500 available for them?
that we have, you know, we have some
Okay.
finances. We'll try to help them however we
Okay.
can. And Adam emailed me back and said, if I find it, I'll send it to you guys. Adam emailed me back and said that, Kristen emailed and said thank you, and Adam emailed back and said they're still in the process of coordinating everything. That's what he
Okay.
said. So
And then I do not have, that doesn't mean we don't have a date yet, but I don't have a date for the Little River cleanup written in the calendar yet. It's probably in my tree board notes though. No, not for that one. The Arbor Day was settled.
I don't remember the date. That day was the 28th.
The third Saturday of March is the Little River cleanup?
No, Arbor Day.
yeah,
Well, no, Arbor Day I have, I have the fourth Saturday, the tree board, and we'll get to that here, but the tree board is declaring a date of April 24th. And I believe that National Park Week and other similar activities are all occurring around the same time. I know Earth Day is the 22nd. But the tree board has named April 24th as the Arbor Day event. Okay. All right. So if this is in the Little River cleanup, we're saying is the third Saturday in March, and I will email Adam and.
so Adam says, thanks, Omar. Hopefully we will be able to do this in March. So they didn't give an exact date.
Okay.
I'm gonna send
All
it to
right.
you right
So we will. But that sounds about right. The third or fourth Saturday is what's going to be. The first day of spring is March 20th. So we will be able to plan for that because our committee meeting will take place on March 2nd. I'm sorry, March 9th, forgive me. Public Affairs Committee meeting will be March 9th. So we'll be able to finalize Little River cleanup. Even if it's on the second Saturday, we'll still be a few days out ahead of it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Questions on Little River cleanup then?
No, good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Easter is April 4th this year. Easter is April 4th this year. we have a $500 budget, but we can't really say what's going to be happening with COVID restrictions other than to say that we would assume, barring, I don't know what, extraterrestrial intervention, we're going to be we're still going to be in COVID reality as of April 4th. So let's really sink our brains into this for March. For the March, this probably be the focus of the March Public Affairs Committee meeting, is to hammer out what it's going to look like, where it's going to be, how we're going to do it. I feel strongly that, Maribel, when we get to the end here, I'm going to make a note here, make an actual note so I'll remember it, to ask you about this specifically when we get to the end of events, because I think what we'll do is do a rundown of what events the Women's Club would have interest in aligning with. And then I think the village will feel lucky to have your participation in whatever you choose to do. And then if there's one that I really feel strongly that, you know, you guys should be helping out with or would be good for helping, you know, then I'll try and talk you into it. But at the end here, we'll kind of hash that out with you at the podium, if that's okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Arbor Day, let's see. So Easter. So the reason I went to Maribel is because I know that she's already got an idea for how to work that. If not, I'm pretty sure it was her idea, but it certainly wasn't my idea. But I do think there is a model that we can use to actually do something for the residents that they can engage in and participate in for Easter. So that's probably going to be the focus of the March meeting. And I think we probably could pull it off for you know, very close to that 500 or even under. Maybe we come out with like $100 left over or something. It's possible. Comments or ideas about Easter here in the committee?
No, I mean, if you guys have something you guys are working, brainstorming about, then,
Well, I think I got the idea from her, but she'll tell me when she gets up here, so. And if,
Get up here now?
no, I really want to kind of get to the end of this list and do that at the end, so. But do you have anything specific in mind?
no, not really. I mean, I know we can't have it in Tot Live, right?
Right,
So
right.
we used to have it there, we can't have it there, so.
This is a village-wide
Okay,
activity.
so I'm open to hear
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, because here's the idea of COVID, right? Instead of everybody 3 deep at the bar at the nightclub, we want everybody essentially spread out across a field, right? So you really kind of got to expand events for them to be functional in COVID. If you can't expand it in physical space, then you quickly run out of options for being able to have that event. So Easter being, you know, within good weather, right? We can reasonably expect good weather for Easter. So, I mean, that every single year, every Easter event relies on good weather. So it's not like we're reinventing the wheel that way. So.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes,
really,
please.
really, really quickly. You know, there's something to us trying to facilitate and maintain a new relationship with the Horace Mann Middle School.
Okay.
Because, you know, if we get to that point to where we can really have a good relationship with them, then we could see if, like, for events like the Easter, so like we could use their field, which is huge, and we can spread things out. I mean, there's not really a lot of trees to hide eggs, but you know, for things like that, you know, because they are our community school, so we really need to, like, you know, kind of facilitate that relationship, and maybe in the future we can use their field for things that we need.
All right, I'm gonna put that in my notes here. Okay. All right. Councilperson Perla? No. Okay. All right. All right, the 5K run. I'm sorry, I skipped over Arbor Day. Arbor Day, April 24th. So if you look at this, the past budget was like almost like $2,000. I think it was even like $2,200 was the past budget, and now we have a $500 budget. So the tree board, I know the Women's Club is always involved in that one. So between the tree board, the Women's Club, and then the council, I feel like we should be able to come up with you know, imaginative and creative solutions. Again, it's going to be during COVID, so you know, it'll be in theory a smaller event anyway, but that budget is very, very, very different from what we've had in the past. So that is 25% of the past year's budget. And I have a feeling that a lot of that budget probably actually went to the musicians. I hope it did, because I know they've had as many as 5-piece bands playing. So musicians certainly deserve to get paid. But that is it. That's a punch in the gut. That's 25% of past budget. So that's something we have to think about. So I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4. This will make no, that's 5. This will make actually 6 events already that are going to be pressing by the time we hit the March committee meeting in terms of vision and planning. Some of them will be urgent, right? Others will have a couple more committee meetings to plan, but we're already at 6 to discuss in earnest for March. The 5K run in May, again, past budget 2,000. This year we have a budget of 500. This we should be able to pull off because you can do staggered starts. You can set it up so you can do you could do areas where people stage together. 5, 6 people here. You can accomplish having people come in, register that morning, or confirm registration, be where they're supposed to be, get started and finish, all with maintaining social distance and correct practices. I don't see any reason why the 5K couldn't happen, perhaps other than budget. Thoughts?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the only thing is is budget. So we just have to decide how we want it. Cause remember, so when the 5K, I remember coming into the first 5K and when it first started, and then the second, I think, and third one, a long time ago. So the way it first started it was kind of like a community. I think Maribel used to, because it would be Courtney, Maribel, I think were there when it first started. Remember when it first started? I remember the first year it was like 7 of us. It was like me, Maribel, Courtney, Lee, and Claudia, and it was like 7 of us, I think, the first year. So what we could try to do is find a little medium ground between that and what it ended up becoming, which what it ended up becoming wasn't nothing bad, but it became huge, right? To where it was like finish lines and DJs, and it was humongous. Now it was fun, but I don't see how we can pull something like that off with $500. Because we have to buy the food, we have to buy the water, oranges, bananas, and things like that. So, and the
Yes.
time, it was a timing
Right.
system and things like that.
So the sponsor in the past, I believe, essentially it created a $2,500 budget, and I believe sponsors brought in about $500.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the budget right.
So we're still talking about $2,000.
Right.
You see what I mean? So it was still a lot of money that you really don't realize, but to pull off an event like that, a lot of money comes out of the village.
Right.
So if we're talking about $500, we really have to kind of get our mind around what we want that to look like. So I'm thinking more of a community walk, run type of thing.
And old school in terms of possibly timing, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I worked in one of the most popular restaurants in South Beach, and we used pencil and paper. There wasn't a computer. There was barely a calculator, a 10 key. You know what I mean? There was a 10 key up in the office, but everything was pencil and paper. Like when you started working there, you had to learn how to write everything because everybody had to speak the same language, right? So I guarantee you, the pyramids were built with pencil and paper, so we can figure out how to do timing for an event like this with pencil and paper. I think that's entirely within. We could even involve school children and help them learn how to organize something like that, as a collaboration. So, Mayor.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chair, so that's kind of like I think what I'm looking at, because, before what it ended up being was that it was officially timed to where this wasn't an official event, which is good, but I think that for the budget that we're dealing with, I don't see how we can make it an official event.
So we
I
could
think it's just
turn it into a PR thing and say, hey, come get your asterisk, So your time for this event will have an asterisk next to it because it was old school time, but
I mean, I think we could just make it more of a community event
Okay.
than like a
I'm for that.
huge
Sure.
Miami-Dade County event. And I
Sure.
think with that, we
And
can
really focus on the armed services and
Mhm.
law enforcement representation of that.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that. Councilperson Perrella? Okay. All right. Okay, and then finally, we're pretty much hitting events that we can wait until May's committee meeting for. But 4th of July, we have no budget for 4th of July this year. Past budget has been $2,000.
4th of July, Mr. Chair, if I may. 4th of July is something that there's just no way that, because we, in the past, we've never bought fireworks. We don't do
Okay.
fireworks here in
Right.
Alberta for that. So the money wasn't for that. The money was basically for food. So it's basically like a big party in a tot lot. And with
Grill,
COVID,
right,
there's
yeah.
no way we're gonna be able to do that.
Right.
So, so I really don't know what we can do for 4th of July. We'll have to think of something and just, think of something creative to do. Maybe something we can do with the Women's Club.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, I don't know what
in
we could,
kind.
what we could do.
Okay.
You know, because 4th of July is all about what, barbecues and fireworks,
Right.
and we don't do fireworks
So
and
if we
barbecue, and we're not
So if
gonna
we
do a
could pull
barbecue.
off kind of, for even a few hours, a community event that people will attend, we win, kind of a thing.
Yeah, we can pull
Okay.
off something.
Okay, all right, so put that on your radar for May's committee meeting. And then if we, because of all the other things, we kind of got to get hashed out in March, that it'll be kind of tight planning in May for July, because July 4th is, of course, I have to have a weird calendar, don't I? Mine goes till June. July 4th is a Sunday. So we won't have our committee meeting until the following week, the 9th, I think. So in May, we're gonna solve 4th of July. Does that sound like a plan? Okay. The role models, the 5,000 role models, yes.
No, I was just gonna say, Mr. Chair, this right here doesn't have to be budgeted. This right here takes place, on Martin Luther King Day. They did contact, I don't know if they contacted you, village manager, but they contacted me also. They're doing it, via Zoom, it's all virtual, and I just didn't feel like it was the type of thing to where we wanna put money into it this year.
Okay,
So-
and, all right, so, but I'm just looking for the date here. So are you saying that the 5,000 role models will occur on the 18th as well?
Yeah, it always occurs on Martin Luther King,
Okay.
holiday,
All right.
that Monday.
Is there anything we can do to help them promote it?
I don't think there's anything we can, that we need to do this year, Mr. Chair, because it's all virtual.
Okay.
They're doing it all through Zoom. Usually it takes place at the Parrot Jungle Island in
Okay,
a big ballroom.
I got you.
And they usually have a speaker, a national speaker,
okay.
that comes,
Do
usually
we
a
wanna
congressman or
put it on
something
the
like that.
website, just to let residents
We
know?
can put it on, we can,
I mean,
but the participation is by invitation. It's not like,
okay.
it's not like
Okay.
it's by ticket and
And are you,
invitation.
I believe you've participated in years past, is that correct?
Yeah, every
Are
year,
you
yeah.
participating in this year?
This year, I have a invitation,
Okay,
but as far as, they always ask for us to buy a table
gotcha.
and give donations, which I said we weren't gonna do this year.
Okay, all right, so in that case then, I'm gonna put that in for like July's committee meeting to discuss, budget and a plan to be able to participate. Because I've gotten the impression as a resident that that's always been a big deal that El Portal has some kind of participation in.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge deal. It's a national,
Yeah.
we have a lot of national leaders there usually at that event. This is the first year that they're doing it virtual, so it's gonna be a little bit different.
Okay, all right, so I'll put that into track in July to begin planning for. Does that sound reasonable? Okay, Seniors Luncheon. The note I have on this is to be reimagined, because that's what I got out of watching the last committee meeting, and then also from different notes that I had. So,
Yeah.
do you have thoughts on?
So the seniors luncheon used to be something that we used to do every other month, every couple of months.
Okay,
I don't see any way. I don't see any way that is responsible that we should be doing this, being that how vulnerable seniors are to COVID. We shouldn't even
Okay.
be getting them grouped together, like
Okay.
that for these luncheons. I don't
So
see
then-
that
So
responsibility.
then that might
right
actually
now.
be good news, since we never, it didn't sound like we ever really found a format that really worked and was like really successful, so maybe this is the chance we have, while everything's kind of down, to come up with something that might be beneficial, or we realize that, no, we just need to,
Well, I mean, we want to take care of our senior. What we may want to consider, I don't know. I mean, I know that that we do have some seniors that get the Meals on Wheels program. I don't know, how expensive it would be if we would, for once or twice a year, we can get like meals to take around, drop off with the seniors, like nice meals. You know what I mean? Not like a not like a military meal, you know what I mean? But like a nice meal, instead of having a luncheon to where they all come here because they can't come here because of COVID, if we
Yeah.
can get like a catered, plate by plate,
Sure.
and drop it off at the seniors' houses, I'm sure they would appreciate that.
okay. Let's see, going, and I'm gonna put, okay. Councilperson Pro, thoughts on that? Okay. Turkey giveaway, I have listed as being November, and that we'll begin discussing that in committee in July. And the idea is that, Madam Manager, in years past with the turkey giveaway, how far out do the organizations give you any guidance on how it's gonna be occurring?
Yeah, remember we did it this
Okay,
year.
so if we put it on July's agenda for, to discuss, is that too early? Will we have information we can actually use by then?
No, I mean, it's kind of early. If you guys remember, this year this year was hard because Mayor Cabillas was going out, I was coming in, so there was a little bit of confusion with it. But we still did get a lot of turkeys.
Right,
We
but-
still got
Yes,
turkeys.
but remember that September is, in an election year, September is gonna be a down month, right? And then November, you're already on it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna leave it as an issue to put on the radar starting in July.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then in off years, we'll have no problem. We can do it in September, plan the holidays, right? But then in other years, we're gonna come down to the wire at a November committee meeting thinking, what the hell are we gonna do for Thanksgiving,
No,
right?
absolutely. I just think
So-
that we won't get any information until the league and the county gives it to us.
Okay,
And I kind of got it right there in real time when I was contacting you guys about the turkeys
Gotcha.
this year. So
so I'm gonna put turkey giveaway I'm gonna list July, September, and November committee meetings as that to like show up on the radar. Okay, State of the Village. You only get $500 this year, not $2,500.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, Mr. Chair. State of the Village is event. It takes place in August. State of the Village is something that has to be done per our charter. We have to do the mayor has to do a State of the Village every year. So I mean, being that it's COVID, I'm probably going to end up doing it virtual, 100%, just 100% virtual. I'll probably end up doing, not even here. I mean, maybe I'll come here and sit here for the seal in the background or something like that, but I'll just make it 100% virtual,
Okay,
just straight through Zoom and full
all
moon.
right,
My brother's over there at full moon.
all right. And they should know that our budget is only $500 this year also.
So I think we'll come in well under
Yeah.
budget. We'll come in well under budget this year. I mean, if one Zoom speech costs up to $500,
Yeah.
me and my brothers at Full Moon, we have more to talk about.
Yeah.
They might not be my brothers for that much longer if that's
Yeah.
the case.
That's great, all right.
But I appreciate it, Mr. Chair. That's it.
Very good. And then I've got Christmas. We discussed it a little bit from the previous item, but I have as occurring in December generally, and then I'll just put the same July, September, and November committee meetings to put it on the radar, discuss, and plan. And I believe, there we go. I have in my notes the website was moved to the village clerk's budget, and that is where it remains, right? So the public affairs does not need to concern itself with the budget of the website, is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Public information officer, we put it under.
Okay.
village clerk.
All right, and then the last item I added just from some, as I chaired my first meeting for the tree board the other day, I'm now chairing public affairs. talking about different issues. I'm realizing that we need a line item for town halls, and that should probably be within public affairs, so that we can promote them, successfully. Those will pop up as they come along. I have right now a code enforcement town hall hoping for July. Help me think of any other town halls we are thinking of doing, wish to have, what months they might occur in. And this will, being on the tracking report and calendar events, will be something that we discuss. Every committee meeting, we're gonna be talking about town halls, so that way we can actually maybe pull off, 2 or even 3 town halls a year, because it seems like that's what's needed generally, is 2 to 3 town halls a year. If there's no comment at this time, then we can, just bring that up again in March.
No, there's not really a comment. I don't
Okay.
know what's going to happen. Councilperson Perrella, what's the what about the lights? Were you thinking of having a town hall, or was it just?
Yeah, well, as it was suggested, we should, we will be having one, but that's public works, nothing in public affairs, right?
No, yeah, he was just saying that he wants to track the town halls through public
What
affairs.
month, do you think you have an idea of what month you'd wanna do that in? Even a range?
Give yourself time to you have to get yourself time to plan it
Yeah,
out.
no, I mean, we have to, it will have to be by probably the July meeting, after
Okay.
we have the full council, like the other two.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is,
I'll just put a little thing in here. This,
Mhm.
it's not set in stone here, but I'll put it in here as, Public Works is looking to have a town hall in July. So code enforcement, Public Works, for now, that's what we're
Yeah.
looking at, right?
we had like about a year or so
Okay.
left for the lighting, and it will take like about 6 months by the time we decide whether we're gonna change the lights or not.
Okay,
FPL will take like about 6 months for them to finish the whole, process of
Okay.
changing lights.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Excuse me, Councilperson Perrella. Mr. Chair, I don't know if you were, through code enforcement, thinking of having any type of town hall of like a kind of frequently asked question. 'Cause a lot of people don't understand about the swell.
that's
the
kind of
swell.
what I'm seeing as the format of
Stuff
the,
like that.
town hall for code enforcement in July, is that kind of, not just frequently asked questions, but also randomly asked questions,
Yeah. Because a lot of people don't,
With code
with fence,
enforcement,
with
that's more of
swell,
what it
with
is.
trees,
Right.
like,
Right.
who takes care of this, who takes care of that? Is that the city, or is that person, or is
Right.
that, who maintains this? I think a lot of those type of questions would be good.
Yes. Agreed. Okay, all right,
If I can just add, we also already had a circulator town hall.
that's right.
We did do that, so
That's right.
something, I mean,
I'll put that in because we may end up having another one as we get closer to groundbreaking. Okay. Circulator. All right, and I'll just leave it open as far as the anticipated time. Okay, so we made it to the end of the list there. I will close the meeting to the committee and open it up to public comment. And before I do that, because part of the public comment is gonna be discussion of, alignment and collaboration with Women's Club. And so, I do need to, disclose that my wife is the vice president of the El Portal Women's Club. And so I have spoken with Attorney Geller about this, and, there is no real conflict of interest. And so I still feel it necessary to make it part of public record that my wife is the vice president of the El Portal Women's Club. So, there may be a situation that arises where I would have to abstain or not vote on an issue, but the way we see it right now is that there's no conflict, just an option to disclose, which I'm doing now. And I put that in writing and send it to both the clerk and the manager. All right, so closing the meeting to the committee, is there public comment on our calendar of events?
Maribel Fruitstone, president of GFWC El Portal Women's Club, 157 Northwest 88th Street. All right. I brought my water because I think I'm staying a while. All right. The National Day of Service, we're going to collaborate with. We are interested in, because we have collaborated before with Halloween, And so that's one of the reimaginations that I was thinking of, that I think you might be alluding to with Easter.
Yes.
So the National Night Out, we have participated in when it's been a part of the backpack giveaway.
Okay.
So,
So you're saying that if we maintain that as
Yeah,
combining the backpack giveaway with the National Night Out, that the Women's Club would continue to have interest in participating
yes,
in that event?
yes,
Okay,
because it's in August,
all right,
unless you change it to October.
okay.
The Little River Cleanup, we always collaborate with that 501c3, so you'll see us there. Easter, we thought since half of the members are mothers, that we have to collaborate with Easter to help out with manpower. I think what you're alluding to was something that was trying to test, and I had it more in line with Halloween, but we could try it for both, it doesn't matter, and it's a scavenger hunt. Is that what you're thinking of?
Yes, where,
Okay.
yeah,
So it occurred to me that somewhere I was looking, and a scavenger hunt seemed very, I was researching for my daughter's birthday. So that it's very distant. You could have clues. We were going to have the members, one of those real estate little boxes. We had the logo, and you were going to go and pick up a clue. The other idea was that if you don't want to touch anything, instead of having it in one of those the clues spread throughout residents' homes, we were gonna maybe have, like when you're in college and you have the phone numbers and you rip a piece. I don't know, have you ever seen that? When you want to go buy a bed, you need to go buy a bed in college, and they say, need a bed, and then you call this number and you rip the little pieces. So to make it something where it's easier, that you don't feel like you have to touch everybody else's things, you just take your little piece of paper and your clue. And so that would be, if you're thinking for Easter, then that would be a way to have the residents around. And then there might be eggs or something. They're going to collect. You could either create it where you're having clues to make a puzzle, and then you go back to the head place, like the village hall, and you get a prize. You get like a little, like the marshmallow hunt has a bag of candy. And you don't need 600 marshmallows. You only need one marshmallow to get your little candy bag. So that could be an idea to do for Easter if we're still in COVID. Arbor Day we always participate in since its inception. I think the first year, actually we did participate. It was Barbara Fusel and Janice Koch, and they were members of the Women's Club, and they got us to start cooking the food. And then when they decided to resign from chairing it, then we took it over. So we always do Arbor Day. The 5K run we participate in, so we support it, we participate, and we've also done before where we've had a water table mid-place.
okay. All right,
Most of your stuff we have assisted or done, or done that's on your calendar. The 4th of July. The 4th of July, what I wanted to bring up was that we had a wonderful resident, David Ward, and his partner Cecil, and they moved away, and they organized these little American flags. And so what they did is they bestowed those American flags on the GFWC El Portal Women's Club. So we have, in my shed, all the little American flags. So my idea was going to be, along with the barbecue, if you can't do the barbecue, that we expand what we love about Miami Shores with their big flags, and maybe do more of, with the little flags, if we make sure that we look and see that we have enough, one for every house, and maybe expand it where if it's still with COVID and we don't want to do food, that we invest in certain American flags that might hang in prominent areas of the village or something, just to think about that instead of food. It is a wonderful event, though. I've attended it both at the Tot Lot and when it was in Horace Mann, because it has been in Horace Mann before. So, and that was more spread out when it's at Horace Mann. we have participated with finding people for the turkey giveaway if you have extra. And, well, you know about Christmas, which we're reimagining caroling. We've collaborated with the tree lighting to carol at the same time. So we've done that before too. You just have to, I mean, whatever your idea is, if I can't attend to represent the club, then I'll have another member come so that for each committee meeting that you have, that we can have a voice to assist you. Historically, though, in 1946, just as a sidebar, September 17, 1946 is the anniversary of the Women's Club of El Portal. It's not 2016. It was actually started by a mayor, and he decided that he wanted to get his wife involved and her friends in the Women's Club. And so Mae Bush was the first president, and she represents us, and she's on our website. And the history of us has always been in collaboration with the Village of El Portal. So we want to reinstate that again, if we can.
All right. That is wonderful. Okay, I think I kept up with all the notes. All right, so I believe I kept up with all the notes. So just as a rundown, I kind of filled in all the chair positions of the events as you kind of ran through that. So most of the events I have, I believe the chair should be the chair of the Public Affairs Committee. Other things, I'll just run through it here. National Day of Service, I actually have the chair as I just put Women's Club, right? So the National Day of Service sounds like the Women's Club have essentially a plan and the mission on that, and if we can help and assist, then we'll be doing good. So I wouldn't want to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead.
For National Night Out, for National Day of Service, okay, you're not a National Night Out yet.
Right,
okay,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So League of Cities dinner, I have the chair being the mayor. I'm trying to use titles here so that it survives beyond, all of us. Halloween, I have as the chair of Public Affairs, should chair the Halloween event. And to speak to Halloween and Easter, I was thinking of also, like, you could have families or households sign up to participate, and then where, if it's Easter, for example, you hide eggs essentially on your property, but where people don't have to climb trees to get them and things like that, just simple, fun little thing like that.
Right,
And then,
like on your lawn.
and then as a family passes through and they take some of the eggs, you just put some more out, right? So that I was thinking of that also with Halloween also.
Yeah, that's why my
Yeah.
original idea was to test it out earlier in
Right.
our year is January to December. So I was going to test it out at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And then if it really worked out, I was going to come to the committee and say, hey, how about Halloween? Let's do this. Because I know on Nextdoor, a lot of people will register for the candy map, and nobody comes to their house.
Right.
So this would really make residents go to throughout all of El Portal if we do it specifically for Halloween, but we
Right.
could start them off in Easter.
I say we give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, but for Halloween, I have that as being chaired by. Oh, forgive me. I'm still in public comment here. Let me just ask, just real quick. Does anyone have any input on this calendar of events as we've laid out for the last about hour here? Going once, going twice. Okay, Maribel, back to the. Okay, so you might stay there, but I'm going to close the meeting to public comment and
course.
open it back up to the committee here.
Mm-hmm.
So the newsletter, I do not have. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, the mayor should.
It should be
share it.
council. It should be the
Okay.
council.
Yeah. See,
So
I got.
we don't want to get into this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilperson Perrella? Yeah, okay. All right. National Night Out, I actually have as the chair at the Women's Club. And
You
then-
do?
No. So then that will be the chair of the
It's
Public
been-
Affairs Committee then.
Traditionally, I think it's been the mayor that kind of does that, not
That
putting it to
spearheads the
Omar.
national mayor?
Yeah. So what I was going to say is why I was going to, when you said National Day of Service, I was thinking National Night Out.
Yes.
But for National Night Out, as the president of the Women's Club, Maribel Fruitstone said, we usually did the book bag giveaway.
Right.
Book pack giveaway. I remember that, and that might be where that past budget of $500 comes from.
Okay.
I know that some stuff might have been donated, but I remember distinctively going with former clerk
Okay. Kobe.
Eunice
Yeah,
to
okay.
get the stuff that goes into the book bag.
I
Like we
got
went
you.
to have to go spend the money.
Okay.
We went to Kmart to have to go spend the money to get all the pencils and pens and papers. And so the book bags themselves, I'm not sure if we got them donated or if we got them really cheap in bulk.
But for right now, in terms.
Were they all donated? The book bags were all donated.
But for right now, in terms of who should be, top of the pyramid on that event, we're saying the mayor?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Okay, and then to lay that also on future mayors as well, right? Okay, good deal. All right. Well, I mean, the Miami Shores Gala I also have as the mayor. Does that make sense? Madam Manager, any? Okay. All right. Little River Cleanup I have as the chair of the tree board. So in that case, it's going to be me. Easter, that should be, I think, the chair of public affairs for Easter. Or does the Women's Club want to take Easter and the village follows along?
I need to discuss that.
Okay, so
I
for
don't
now, I'm going to leave the chair of the village Easter effort as the chair of public affairs.
Yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think that I think that because this is a government committee,
Yes.
the chair should always be a government entity,
Yes.
and then the
Right,
Women's
and then
Club can
this- right.
piggyback
So
on.
even on the
that.
National Day of Service,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean.
Even on National Day of Service,
We're doing it anyway.
The Women's Club should have somebody
Okay.
who's their contact
Okay.
in the
All right.
government.
Okay. All right. So then I will change that to chair of
Public affairs. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Yeah, because in fact that was really kind of the only one. Getting down to, let's see. So for Little River Cleanup, Easter, Arbor Day, 5K run, 4th of July, 5,000 role models, Seniors Luncheon, whatever that ends up being. I have all of that as chair of public affairs. Okay.
State of the Village should be the mayor because the mayor has.
I have State of the Village as the mayor, and then the turkey giveaway I actually have as manager.
I mean, the mayor is the one that
I'll change that to mayor then.
because gets
Okay.
the
Yeah, it's the
contact.
League of Cities, I
Yeah.
thought, that you
Yeah.
guys get.
As long as we
tokens
recognize
from.
that the manager does most of the work on that one, I think so.
Yeah, the manager
All right.
does a lot of work.
Very good. All right, and then Christmas again, I'll move back, I'll put chair of public affairs to coordinate those two events, the lighting of the tree and the caravanning with the Women's Club. All right, and then town halls will be whoever is operating it, right? Okay, I feel like we made it through the list there. Just concerning the calendar, I think the budget will go very quickly next because we've essentially gotten through all that in the same time here. But just regarding the calendar and the events, does anyone have anything to add to this list or declare that something should be removed? Okay, so we're comfortable that this is what public affairs for the Village of El Portal is looking at in terms of their scope of responsibility for the year. There is one other item that I have on my Excel sheet that we will discuss in March, and that is Home of the Month. But it's not in the budget. It's not, so I'm just gonna add it to discuss for in March, and we'll take it from there. But for your notes, Home of the Month is the only thing that I have on my list that you probably don't see. All right, very good. With that, then, I believe we're ready to move to the next agenda item. Is that correct? Any resistance to that? Okay. And that next agenda item is the budget recap, okay? So I put a recap because I figured as to the schedule, we'd probably go over it at least once, right? And I think we have. So as we look at this budget, the only extra money we have laying around is the $100 from Halloween. I would say we just leave it floating in there and remind ourselves that we have it there as we go into March. But as you look at the budget items, does anyone have any strong feelings about, we hashed all of this out pretty much in detail as we worked out the budget, but that was some months ago. Does anyone have any comments regarding the way we have the line items laid out here? Okay, all right. So there will be a lot of work to do in March in terms of rubber meeting road and getting going on true event planning, which is gonna feel really good, I think. All right, does anyone in the audience have I'll close it out to the committee and open it to public comment if anyone has any comments on the budgets next to those line items. All right, very good. Closing public comment and bringing it back to the committee. The final item is the tracking report. Okay, so the Excel sheet that I just was filling out, I'll clean that up, make it look nice, notes will be legible, and then I will send that to the clerk to send to you guys. But what we just worked out, I have it set up so that the tracking report and the calendar events is the exact same thing. It's one and the same. You look at one, you're looking at the other, and it should have all the information we need to plan things successfully throughout the year. Any concerns? Thank you, Attorney Geller. Thank you sincerely. So for those of you in the audience, the last item here, the tracking report, if you're looking at, I guess they don't actually have this yet. So this will actually be posted on the website soon, now that we kind of have blanks filled in. And so our tracking report is our calendar of events for public affairs. Let's see, I'll close it out to the committee and open it to public comment if anyone has anything to discuss about the tracking report aspect of the calendar of events of public affairs. All right, very good. Closing public comment. Back to the committee. Anyone on the committee have anything to add regarding all of that? Okay. All right, moving on then to unfinished business. Anything regarding, I guess we just covered it all, right? All right. New business.
Wonderful job, Mr. Chair. Wonderful job.
Man. I was hoping to move a little quicker, but I think we got it. We're lined up and ready to take a shot at 2021 here.
Just so everybody understands, this is the first committee meeting of not only the new year, this is the first committee meeting of this new council.
That's right.
So there was a lot of catching up and figuring out what we were keeping, what we weren't keeping, things like that. So the other committee meetings after this won't go as long as this because
March
everything
will be a little bit lengthy, but then we'll be,
So that's why these first committee meetings are like this, you guys.
That's true. All right, new business, anybody? Okay. And then good and welfare open to the public. There will be another one at the end of the next committee meeting as well, but come on up, Maribel, if you'd like to. Yeah, that's fine.
I just want to share one last thing. We do have Maribel Fruitstone, DFWC, El Portal Women's Club. We do have events that we do that are separate from the village of El Portal's government. And so that we usually run a I Love My Village photo contest.
Yes.
That we're trying to reimagine. That's usually in February. And what I'm thinking once, to reimagine this one is that, again, we're going to have the residents out and about, and we have our own Instagram and webpage and things like that. So that they can upload these through hashtags and upload to our website so that we have all these pictures, and then eventually, instead of making a calendar, to maybe have an outdoor event where we can display these things instead of a calendar, because people don't really use paper calendars anymore. And then repurpose the old calendars with the beautiful photographs from the residents that are also on our website. But we have all of these calendars to maybe frame them and use it as a fundraiser for us to sell. So there are beautiful ones of peacocks and all the homes around. And so that was how we're trying to rethink of February's I Love My Village. Typically, in March, we have done movies. Usually in the fall, we do movies, so it's the whole winter season. But because of COVID, we're currently seeking to reimagine that, like to think of a drive-in movie or a concert or something where we can get the residents out as well. So those are some things that we're thinking about, that if you would like to attend.
Are you taking submissions now for the I Love El Portal, or are there dates where you're...
Usually what it is it's according to the calendar how we can work things out. So, we know that usually the Little River cleanup and Arbor Day has been in March, traditionally. And so if it's changing and moving into April, then we have to like rearrange some of our events that we usually do.
Okay.
We always do the beer and barbecue.
I mean,
to-
in terms of people submit, like, is there what's the deadline for people to submit the photos that they wish to submit?
Oh,
to?
it's always the month of February.
Always the month of February.
It starts
Okay.
February because it's the month of love, so we do I Love My Village.
Okay.
And so it's to get people out. The idea with that one was I was kind of gonna test the scavenger hunt idea with getting with the history of El Portal and maybe teaching all of the new residents that have moved into the area, if they're out and about walking and then doing their things with their dogs, taking pictures, that they can find a little clue on a member's lawn that is something about El Portal. Like, did you know that it's the oldest archaeological site in the United States is the Indian Mound? Did you know that this is, like, just teaching people, the new residents, about the village?
All right. That's awesome.
So those are the upcoming events for us.
All right. Very good. All right. Anybody else for good and welfare? Okay. That brings us to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Very good.
I'll second.
All right. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any nays? Hearing none, the Public Affairs Committee of January 12th, 2021 will adjourn at 8:18 PM.